Ahoy there, fellow voyagers in the seas of code. Ramón here from CodeSee, and I'm going to show you a couple of tips that I've picked up over the years to get started with a new code base, because I'm sure we've all been there. We're in a new code base, and it's pretty big. Before we discover it's a monolith, before we discover it's a mono repo, and it's ever growing larger and larger. How do we get started? Here's 3 steps to get started. Let's use a JavaScript-based examples. One of the first things I'll do is open up the package.json file, and I can see what dependencies make this project tick. For example, I see React, TypeScript, Firebase, and Sentry. I can also take a look at the scripts to see what's going on and what is expected. It's a real handy first glance at the project. Next, let's talk about tests. Now, assuming the project has tests in them, they're a great way to see what is expected from the code itself. If you're going to be touching a module that you're not familiar with, I can totally recommend checking to see if that module is tested, just to get a glance of what's going on here and what is expected. Now, it's absolutely also a good idea, if there's no tests for that module, to go ahead and add some. Finally, let's talk about asking for help, or rather, how to ask for help effectively. This can be really tricky. For example, how long should one wait before asking for help? Too short and you're not really learning. Too long and you're holding stuff back. A good rule of thumb is to be consistent. One thing I've learned, for me, half an hour works best. A couple of other things to bear in mind is to ask narrow and pointed questions. To ask instead of, say, this doesn't work, can you help me? To sort of approach it with, hey, I'm noticing some trouble logging in. Can you help me? Do you have an idea? Another great thing to do is to share what you've tried. That eliminates possibilities and saves time. Finally, show, especially if this is a remote situation, show the person you're asking for help the steps you've taken to reproduce the problem. It can totally be a great opportunity to ask for a pairing session as well. So there you have it. That's a couple tips from me, but I'd love to hear what you think. What are some good ways for you to get started in a project? Let us know, and see you on the open seas.